for a while, they told me I was dying. And they told me that I had that literally a month before my son, Bo, was born. And so I'm like, oh, great, now I'm going to die.
You've alluded to the cement truck on a couple of occasions. You know, I think you're 11 years old. This is 95. I think the thing's, what, like 42 tons drags you?
Something like that, yeah.
What's the last memory you have?
Yeah, I think the last memory I have was leaving my house, telling my mom we were going to go get candy. Because we were going to go to the convenience store and get candy. And what we also would do was we'd rip out pages of like Playboy and Penthouse, Dirty Dogs, magazines. Mm-hmm. So we were on our way to do that, and from that moment on, I don't remember anything that happened, but I'm told that when we get to this busy street in Omaha, Harrison Street, there was 3 cement trucks going up the hill and 2 were coming down the hill because we lived in the suburbs and just new houses are popping up everywhere. Mm. And my friend is already across the street, and he yells, "Come on." And that just means I'm excited to go get a razzmatazz sucker and see some boobs, you know? But I took that as coast is clear. And so I was like, okay, he said, come on. And I walked out and I got clobbered and taken under the wheel and spit out. And I flew like 500 feet, they said, and was helicoptered away. And
ripped the skin off your leg, essentially from the knees down.
Ripped the skin, yeah. Exclusive, Graham exclusive.
How long did it take to get?
Looks like uncooked chicken. If you look at it, doesn't that look like uncooked chicken?
Yeah. How long did it take to get the legs back to normal?
I mean, they're still messed up. I still like deal with things.
Like you can't remember a time where the legs weren't in pain, right?
Yeah.
Your mom was telling me you had to relearn to sit, stand, walk, run. Explain what you guys would do in the backyard, like where you would practice.
We had a little chair that they'd wheel me in the backyard because they figured like if I'm gonna fall, at least the grass is a little softer. And I had like a chair that I'd practice like standing up from, and you know, you try to take a few steps, and then we would lay like pillows down so like if I fell, I could land on a pillow.
And even going to school, like how to just use the bathroom at the time when you got there, because you couldn't walk for like what, couple of years. And
I couldn't walk from 6th grade, all of 6th grade, all of 7th grade, and then 8th grade is when all 7th grade I would get up to a walker, and then I'd have to have another surgery, and then I'd be back down in a wheelchair, and then I'd get up to the walker, and then I'd get up to crutches, and I'm like, it's gonna happen.
And crutches, that was a big deal.
Yeah, and then I'd have to have another surgery, and then I'd go back, and I was having surgeries every few weeks.
You had like 26?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah, and then that has gone up more, because I've had maybe a dozen since then, just like little things that have happened.
You remember thinking to yourself, like, will I ever walk again?
Yeah, for sure. You know, but also like, you can't help but think that because you can't walk, and you're like, am I ever gonna be able to walk?
But then here's your mom who took a break from the dental assistant job to be there, who's, Captain Positive.
She's so positive, and it was nice having that, and just, I kind of always thought I would. Like, she was always just drilling that in my head, like, it's all gonna be fine, you're gonna be okay, it's all gonna work out, we're gonna get through this. I know it's hard now, but we're gonna get through this. And I think by thinking that way, things do work out. Because even when something bad happens, she's able to spin it into a positive, which I think is something that I've been able to take from her. And I think that's, like, I was hit by a cement truck, and I'm like, I was able to spin it in a positive. Like, I wouldn't have this career if I wasn't hit by that cement truck, you know?
You think so?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I wouldn't have even thought it would be possible to move out here. But after I was hit by the cement truck and then relearned how to walk and do everything that I had to do, I think I was able to have the confidence in myself to move out here. When before, we didn't know anyone in California.
Yep.
So I think it just would have been a crazy thought to even entertain.
Was there a moment that was kind of the biggest turning point during that recovery process?
You know, I don't really remember it was such a slow, steady, now I'm on crutches and then now I can sort of walk, but in my house to where I knew I could get from my desk to my bed because that's 5 steps and I could fall into the bed. And then in the hallway, I knew that I could, if I needed to, I could brace myself. And then from there, you get walking around the house good enough, and then you're like, okay, let's take it to the streets. And then I'd be in school in the wheelchair and be like, okay, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna walk from here to that desk, and then I could sit down.
And classmates were pretty good, right? And you had a buddy that, there was one kid that was a bit of a dick, but you had a buddy that kind of had permission to be your bodyguard of sorts.
Dude. I had a bunch of friends that were sort of my little bit of a protector. But it was great. Even though middle school kids can be viciously mean, you will never be more hated than if you beat up the crippled kid, and I knew that. So I was talking my shit, dude.
Were you?
Yeah, man.
What would you say?
Try to take me down. I got freaking quips. I would write notebooks full of epic slams to make fun of someone. If
genuinely,
specifically if a kid were to make fun of me about XYZ, I would write little bit. I can't really remember any now. But
do you still have the notebooks?
No.
Okay.
I asked my mom where it is, and I've looked because I'm were they good? I remember being you drop a bomb on someone in the 6th grade lunch table, and everyone's like, oh, Adam, the crippled kid just took him down. I'm like, what's up? Try to swing on me, bitch. I know you won't. I know you won't. I'm crippled.
What stands out from calling into the edge?
Oh, man, that was the best. That was the best. You did your research.
We try.
Graham, you dog. I think I consider that maybe my break into Hollywood.
Why?
I would call into this radio station, 101.9, The Edge, and I would call in and I would do different characters and different impressions, but everything was Omaha specific, and it became a local hit on the radio station. And they were we want you to be part of the drive time hour. And so my mom loaded me into the minivan, drove me downtown, unloaded me, got me in my wheelchair. My legs were extended because my legs couldn't bend at that point. So I'm wheeling in like this, and they were like, oh, we can't hire you. You're a crippled child. We thought you were an adult man who was just a funny person. We can't. But they paid me in concert tickets and any giveaway that the radio station had, and any CD. So, you want to hook up on Goo Goo Dolls? You want Lit? Do you want Live? Do you want 7 Mary 3 CDs? I got you covered, Graham.
You were pretty big into, you saw the Foo Fighters a bunch too, from what I understand.
I got Foo Fighters, man.
And then the video rental store hooked you up.
Oh yeah,
a bit too.
Yeah. Main Street Movies in Omaha. They would, from the accident, everybody was like, we got to give this kid something. He's fully crippled, hit by a cement truck. That's a funny truck to get hit by. We got to hook him up. So the movie rental, Main Street Movies, gave me as many rentals as I wanted. So I rented every comedy movie imaginable and every action movie imaginable. And we watched so many movies that they ended up revoking it after a couple years. They're like, okay, we gave you enough movies. We said for a lifetime, but you're good.
So we've profiled comedians before on the show, and oftentimes there's something really challenging in the past or painful that has connectivity to why they chose their career. And I guess I wonder, have you ever thought about if what you went through then, there's a direct line between that and choosing to make people laugh for a profession?
Yeah, I don't know if it was I'm gonna take this pain and turn it into laughter, but I think
taught you the resilience you spoke about.
And I think positivity. I always just loved comedy, and I was I thought I was a freak athlete, Graham. I thought I was going to the big leagues, baby.
You wanted to be pro baseball
I wanted
player.
to be a pro baseball player. But then after the accident, obviously I couldn't be a professional baseball player. I couldn't walk. So I knew that dream was dead. And that was hard. But I loved comedy so much. And then when I got on the radio station and I was making people laugh, like making adults laugh, I would do it. And my mom, I remember she was getting her hair done and the radio station was on. And it comes on and my bit is playing and the people are laughing in the hair salon. And my mom's like, that's my son! That's my son!
Yeah.
And it was just such a good feeling that like I was making people laugh and I was doing something that people enjoyed. And so essentially that was like the launching point of like, oh, I can actually do this. This could be something that I could do, that I can write comedy now, and then when I'm able to stand, I can stand up and do comedy.
So I know at some point recently, because of stuff connected to your injuries, there was like, you only had to go a few blocks, but you could walk a block, then you had to take a taxi a couple blocks, or there's
it's been
back
a nightmare.
or joints or groin, hip ligament, and back.
Yeah.
Like what's going on there?
They don't really know, and I was having spasms all over, and I still kind of do. They don't really know. For a while, they told me I was dying. Literally within this last year, they told me that. They told me I had this disease called stiff person syndrome, and that's when your muscles get so tight that you can no longer walk, you can no longer move, then your heart will stop beating because your heart is a muscle, and it gets too tight to beat, and then you die. And so essentially the average life expectancy is 6 years for someone that has it. And they told me that I have that literally a month before my son, Bo, was born. And so I'm like, oh, great, now I'm gonna die. I mean, he's gonna be 6 years old. He's only gonna know a crippled father. And then they told me, we think you might not have that. And then 6 months go by, then they're like, and it wasn't getting much better. And I could only walk a few blocks before I'd get so tight that I couldn't really move anymore. And they're like, we actually do think you have it. Go see the guy that coined the phrase stiff person syndrome. He's the expert in the field. And so I went and saw him, and he's like, you don't have it. You do not have it. He's like, this is from your accident from when you were a child. The spasms are a little unexplainable, but it could just be you got so tight that your body doesn't know what to do with it. So you're misfiring a little bit. And essentially during the pandemic, I worked out so much. I was so bored. Just got into cycling and CrossFit. And so I had all the time in the world. So I'd ride the bike 40, 45 miles a day. And then I would do a CrossFit workout, which is super intense, jumping, lifting weights over my head. And I think I just got so tight and so tightly wound that and my body is has all these things that are a little wonky and a little wrong with it, that I just sort of snapped. And I think I'm still dealing with it. It's been 3 years now.
And what are you dealing with now?
Like, it hurts to sit for too long, it hurts to stand for too long, it hurts to walk for too long. I have to foam roll 2 or 3 times a day. I have to do stretches 2 or 3 times a day.
How'd the stem cells in Colombia?
I think they're kind of working. I don't know. I'm the best I've been now for the past 3 years. I'm the best that I like right now. I think is the best I've been, because it's been like, oh, I'm doing good, and then for whatever reason, I'll tighten back up, or something will stiffen, or and then all of a sudden I can't walk, can't do the things that I normally could do. I had multiple hip surgeries last year because I was told that it was my hips before we kind of got the diagnosis of it was just from your accident. They're like, yeah, your hips are a little messed up, but it shouldn't be causing this amount of pain. And I was just in so much pain that I'm like, well, let's figure this out. Give me hip surgeries. So I had 2 hip surgeries.
And you said hip replacements and knee replacements are inevitable eventually.
Yeah, probably down the line I'm going to be
what's the goal, though, with all the,
to be fully bionic? Yeah, just to have fully fake legs and
But just like the goals to just figure out how to best
be.
ease the pain.
Yeah. And it's sort of now when I'm thinking about movies that I want to do, I was always like, I want to be an action star, because those are the movies that I liked growing up, is action and comedy. I'm like, I want to be a comedy action star. And now I'm like, I'm going to be the comedy guy in the action movie with an action star, and he does all the action stuff. But I really wanted to be the guy that does it all, because I like doing stunts. I think it's cool. But now I'm sort of trying to walk that line and see what I can do and what I can't.